Hello again, it's your old friend Theta, the monotone messiah. There's been an increasing amount of attention placed on VR esports, with mainstream media figures starting to notice that yes, this scene exists and it represents the next wave of competitive entertainment. With that additional attention, there's been an influx of questions about how to get into it. While this is a subject near and dear to my heart and I could talk for hours about it, I wrote the literal book on competition after all. I'm breaking from my normal long-form style videos here and giving you a more compact set of reasons for why you should get involved. If you're looking for in-depth explanations, my other videos about esports and my book are both much deeper resources. If you enjoy this video, share it with any friends who you think should also give VR esports a shot. Number 1, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. First and foremost, competing, at least in VR esports, is free, meaning the downside is practically zero. If you don't enjoy it for any reason, you can simply drop out and do something else with your time. But if you like it, you'll have an infinite field of possibilities in front of you. Prize money can be won, lifelong friends can be made, and valuable skills such as teamwork, communication, and strategic planning can all be refined to an extremely high level. Best of all, you don't have to go anywhere to do it. All of this upside can be enjoyed from the comfort of your home, unless you're good enough to play in a LAN like the upcoming IVRL Vail LAN in Miami, in which case you'll get a fully paid trip to one of the most exciting cities in the world. Yes, you do have to own a VR headset, but if you can afford a console or gaming PC, you can easily afford a headset, and the potential upside is so gigantic it should be considered an investment rather than an outright expense. Let me be as clear as possible. If you get involved now, you can be part of something truly transformational in the history of not only esports, but gaming in general. Even if I'm somehow wrong about that, you'll learn valuable skills that you can carry over into anything else you do in life, and it will cost you practically nothing. Or you can pass and miss out on a chance to partake in gaming history. Number 2, VR esports are your best shot at going pro. If you've ever dreamed of being a professional player in other esports, good luck. They're so congested with talent that now only people who can dedicate all of their time and energy have any chance of competing. Add to that the fact that massive esports orgs have monopolized the most impressive talent, and becoming a pro is often a matter of killing yourself to get their attention, which is itself an insanely competitive rat race. VR esports are getting more competitive all the time, but it's still just small enough that if you join now, you'll still have a shot at finding a place where you can make a real career out of it. This is an opportunity that won't come around again anytime soon. So if your goal is to be a professional player, you need to seriously consider competing in VR esports. Even if you don't want to be a player, or you can't make it to the top echelons despite your best efforts, the VR esports scene needs casters, moderators, game developers, content creators, and a whole host of other positions that have yet to be monopolized. There are potential careers all over the place, no matter how good you are at the games themselves. If you love immersive technology, the opportunities are about to get insanely good for anyone who has taken the time to get involved. If you wait until after it's big, you will have missed out on the bulk of those opportunities. Number 3, you already play games that translate to VR esports. If you have a decent baseline of experience in first-person shooters like CSGO, Valorant, Rainbow Six Siege, or Call of Duty, you already have what you need to do extremely well in VR esports. There are quite a few high-level VR esports players with mainstream pancake esports backgrounds who showed up and started shaking the scene up right away. If you understand callouts, team communication, angle control, and other fundamentals of pancake shooters, it's just a matter of adapting that knowledge to the physicality of VR. The same goes for anyone who has a decent chunk of hours competing in paintball or airsoft. In fact, I personally believe these are some of the most important crossover skills a VR esports player can possess. It combines the situational awareness, game sense, and physical skills required to do well in VR. The overall point here is that you shouldn't be intimidated by the fact that you don't have experience in VR esports if you're coming from pancake esports or any other type of game that is similar in some way. Your skill set will translate, and you'll have an edge over anyone who is starting from scratch. Number 4, you can ride the VR wave before it's too late. Although there's been hype about VR for years now, as I've detailed in my video VR and the Future of Esports, it's finally about to hit the mainstream. When it first came out as a consumer technology back in 2016, the headsets and gaming PCs were simply too expensive, and the software available was too primitive to be attractive to most people. As a result, it languished for a long time as a niche hobby, and the VR esports scene was confined to a few dedicated VR enthusiasts. The Quest series, with its low prices and ability to run games without a PC, created a situation where average consumers now have considerable exposure to VR as a technology, and the upsurge in popularity means there's more money to be made for developers. As a result, the VR ecosystem, including hardware and software, is booming. The various VR esports scenes have been building quietly in the background, and now games like Veil are kicking off the long-awaited VR esports Big Bang. If you get in now, you'll enter right before it truly takes off, but after it's exited that weird stage where it's a bunch of early adopters with no real traction. Number 5, you'll have the time of your life. If you think that competing with your friends in a pancake game is a good time, wait until you try VR esports. While it may not look that impressive right now when viewed through a flat screen format like this video, when you put on the headset and experience it, you'll quickly understand why the VR esports scene is so hardcore. It's almost like an altered state because your entire sense of reality is taken over once you enter VR. Think of it this way. Pancake games are the equivalent of watching a movie. You can get involved with the story if it's well written and the visuals are decent, but you never feel like you're in it. When you look away from the screen, you're still in whatever place you were before. But when you put on a VR headset, it's like being in the movie. You're no longer sitting on your couch enjoying an experience from a distance, you are living it. You are surrounded by that environment, and it takes over your entire world until it ends. Now carry this over to esports. Instead of trying to immerse yourself in the moment by staring at a screen while you sit in some elite gamer chair, your entire body is engaged with the virtual. Every round win or loss feels 10 times more impactful. Every kill 10 times more glorious. Now add your friends to the mix, and you have the most fun esports experience possible. Even if you don't get very far as a competitor, you'll never regret the time you spent competing in VR with your pals. How to get started? Knowing all this, it's time for you to take that step and get involved. This boils down to 3 steps. Number 1, get a headset. Number 2, pick a game. And number 3, pick leagues to compete in. While some games like Veil require a PC to play, don't worry if you don't have a gaming rig or the money to buy one. There are still plenty of VR esports you can play with a standalone headset that is a fraction of the cost. It's worth getting in however you can now, and then investing more later once you get a sense of the kinds of games you like and how you slot into the overall ecosystem. I'm a bit biased about which league you should play in since I'm on the board of the IVRL, but there are other options out there. We're confident in the fact that we can run the best organization in VR esports, so by all means go look around and see what the rest of the scene looks like. Since VR is still growing and changing rapidly, I've put together a guide on my website that walks through each of these 3 steps in more depth. As new headsets, games, and leagues pop up, I'll keep it updated so you always have the most cutting-edge information. That way you don't have to worry about this video being too outdated if you ever want to reference it or pass it to a friend later on. You can find this guide at ThetaVR.net/esports. I'll also place a link in the description for your convenience. That's all I have for today. If you enjoyed this video and it inspired you to give competition a shot, send it to a friend who you think would also benefit from VR esports. The bigger this scene gets, the better. Until next time, this is Theta, signing off.